Now, you said 60 people showed up last year at the meeting?
60 people, yes, sir.
Is that a lot of people, or is that less than you would have liked?
That's quite a few people. We organized folks into a focus group type format where we mixed people up and we had people sit at different tables. And some of the ideas that came out of that focus group session were ideas such as distance learning, blended learning, which we currently use with our AP courses now. So there were a lot of good ideas that came out of that that allowed us to go back, put our thinking caps on, go back and make further developments to our budget. The retention of, I'll give you another for instance, the retention of transportation for our pre-K students. I mean, that was one of the items that was considered for a cut. However, the community spoke up and said, hey, listen, this is something we want, this is something we need for our kids, keep it in the budget. So looking at efficiencies, you know, I'd like to say that we're oftentimes asked to do more with less. And oftentimes there's a lot of really smart people out there in our community who are able to give us guidance and advice as to how they want to see their money spent. So 60 people, it's not so much the number of people, but I think that the representation from different areas of the community, different stakeholder groups that are able to have that input. So I've been doing this for a number of years. I've been putting budgets, school budgets together for a number of years. 60 is probably the most I've ever seen turn out in a community. I worked in the city school district in the city of Kingston, a very large community, very large school district, about 11, I'm going to say about 11, correction, about 7,000 students. We didn't see as many people show up for our budget forum as we did here in Mexico, which is obviously a much smaller school district. So I would say, comparatively speaking, we saw I think 60 is a very good turnout, and it was good to see people, again, representing a variety of stakeholder interests in our community. So I was very pleased, and I hope that we have as good a turnout and as a productive budget session in February. I'm confident that we will.
Okay. With the school being more than a quarter of the year over, what is your take on how the school year is going so far? I'm
very pleased. There's a number of different metrics that I look at to kind of get a pulse on the way things are going. And of course, I'm here just about every day because I have children in the school as well, and I kind of like to spy on them from time to time. But I am at least at the high school every day, and I try to get into every school in the district several times a week. So my sense is that the energy is very positive. Some of the negative metrics that we've looked at, I've seen a lot less student suspensions this year, a very positive climate in the buildings, and that's one thing that I want to put out a survey this year to see to the students, to the student body, to see where they're at in terms of their attitudes and their perceptions as to how the school is being run. I do have casual conversations with students as I eat in the cafeterias and talk to them in the hallways, and I sense that things are generally positive. So I develop my attitudes and my perceptions and the way I want to proceed based on conversations that I have with students such as yourself and through venues such as Eye of the Tiger, Tiger Traditions. Communications is very much a two-way process. I do hold several times a year community conversation with the superintendent at a different site. We have one on December 3rd. That's our next meeting. I'm not sure when this is being broadcast, but folks can check their school calendar to see when those meetings are held. But it's basically an open forum where we can talk about different the goings-on in our school district, and you know, I'm always open to those types of two-way conversations where we can talk about what's best for our school district. And while there are things that we need to work on, I don't want to make it sound as if it's perfect. My sense is that the direction we're headed is a very positive direction, and as those needs and as those issues arise, we address them in a way that's good for as many people as possible. So I feel good about the direction the district is heading. You know, we've taken full advantage of social media, digital communications, sharing digital content across a number of different media channels, to include print media and face-to-face communications as well. So the one thing that I really do rely very heavily on is the opportunity to meet with people face-to-face, but also via email and phone calls. And I spend most of my day talking to people. So the feedback that I've gotten has been overwhelmingly positive in terms of how the school year is going. So that makes me feel very good.
So your expectations are positive for the rest of the school year by all of the feedback you've gotten so far?
Very much so. And you know, the data, I also in terms of the qualitative aspects of just living here and living in the community and working with people and talking to people, I have reviewed the data, the performance data of students, and we do, you know, we look at student achievement vis-a-vis our report cards. I looked at our last, the number of students who've made high honor roll and honor roll and merit lists, and those numbers seem generally up from last year. So more students, it appears, are doing well, at least in terms of our first quarter grades. And as I said, the level of student suspensions and disciplinary actions, you know, all the positive metrics are going up, and it appears that much of the negative metrics quantitatively are going down. So those are all very good indicators. And I think as long as we continue to be visible and have open, transparent, honest discussions, I see no reason why those trends shouldn't continue for the rest of the year.
Okay. Now, being a kid, I love snow.
Yeah.
What are your plans for using snow days this year?
Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of snow days. I don't really like snow, and I know that sounds crazy because